Try to stop me now.
Hello and welcome back to the Team Turner YouTube channel. It is December, although it doesn't feel like it. It's about 55 degrees and sunny. So we are in full winter mode. We are doing maintenance and catching up on things with certain cars that I wasn't able to do all summer. Just kind of preparing the fleet for the next season. So I'm going to get started with what I would call my all but snow daily driver. And that's going to be the 98 Volvo V70R. We're going to pull it in, do a little bit of maintenance on it that's been a long time coming. It needs a couple of CV axles. The boots are missing and pretty much completely gone at this point. It's going to need maybe a couple bushings. The latch is bad. There's a handful of little rattles on the inside I want to take care of, some electronics things. Just a handful of little maintenance, and I'm going to go ahead and handle that. Alright, so because I have the parts for this, and it's probably the simplest, easiest thing to start with, I'm going to go ahead and do the hatch latch. On these cars, it's kind of a known problem that the panel on the hatch falls apart, the clips break, and it rattles, so I'm going to go ahead and do that while it's apart. You usually have to do that every couple of years anyway, especially on a car that gets kind of used and abused. Here's the issue with the hatch latch. It's light here. That is hatch open light. The hatch is absolutely not open. Sometimes they just start to go bad. The sensor inside of the hatch, inside of the latch, it's actually built into the latch itself, is starting to go bad. Also, there was a couple of times where I went to shut the hatch and it didn't actually latch closed all the way. So signs of the latch starting to fail. I'm going to go ahead and replace that latch. You know, this car has 274,000 miles on it. Don't mind those. Those are on permanently. I'll deal with them sometime, or I won't. Anyway, yes, the hatch latch is what we're going to do today. We're going to fix the hatch, and yeah, let's tear into it. Okay, right here is the culprit. We're going to work on getting this whole panel has to come down. As you can see, there's also some rattles. We're going to take care of all that in this video and make sure it doesn't rattle anymore. Alright, so what I'm going to use for this job, got a 10mm ratchet, a couple little extensions. I've got T25 Torx on a ratcheting driver, and I've got my little trim popper tool. These things are pretty straightforward. There's a couple of screws here, and in fact 98 shouldn't even have this little handle. I got this hatch panel from a junkyard off of a 2000. The 98s didn't have the handle, but I thought it was cool. That way you don't have to put your hands all over the paint. It's just a little pocket that fits up in there. So you can close the hatch with that instead of having to touch the paint. It's a nice piece. Anyway, pull that out. There's two screws. Then you've got this little cup. There's a latch in here for the, you know, if kids get in the back, or some of these had a third row seat, there's a little latch. There's a bezel on here. It's kind of a pain to get out, but you've got to pop it at the top. Be real careful not to break the plastic, which if it's Volvo, 50-50, it's probably broke anyway. there's little tabs in here that you've got to pop loose. There we go. There's one. There's two. Okay? Just little plastic tabs. Now these are just locators. One of the three of those is already gone. These little tabs here are the ones that matter. And then this whole little piece is going to pop out. Okay? That should be it for the hardware. Now what you're going to do is you're going to kind of just reach up in here and grab and pull. There's little clips. Now you're going to break them all. This is how it works. The way it was designed, they break. So I always just keep on hand. Professional Parts Sweden makes a kit 834-31866. There's another number 945-1866. You can find these things on FCP Euro or IPD. Any of the Volvo parts sites will have these. They're real common. Comes with some repair panels and some screws and things. The biggest important part is this clip right here. So this is what is going to attach that panel to the actual metal of the hatch. They break. They break when you remove it. They break when you hit a bump. They break when you slam the hatch too hard. They break all the time. I keep a couple extra sets on hand. Anybody that owns these cars should if they don't want the rattle. So we're just going to keep popping these off. Okay. Now you need to watch and be careful because there's a lock pin up on the top side here, so you're going to have to feed that through, push it back through the panel. Boom. This whole panel comes off. Now as you can see, these metal tabs here, this one's got the clip removed. That is what you do when it breaks the plastic of the panel out. It actually comes in that little kit I mentioned. Little metal repair patches so that the clips have something to bite into, because 9 times out of 10 all these clips are going to be broke anyway. Yeah, it's kind of a mess, but it works. This is how you fix it. I forgot to mention, so I talked about these clips, the ones I showed. There are also these smaller clips across the bottom. There's 4 of them. And they are a different number. They don't come in that kit. I will put the part number up on the screen so you have it in case you need it. These don't break as often, but if they do, you want to replace them. All right, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to use your popper tool, and you're going to get these little clips out of here. They're going to break. They are just going to break. Doesn't matter what you do. They're going to snap when you pull them out. Now, like I said, this car has the repair patch, little metal pieces on it. If yours doesn't, and you're lucky enough to not have your hatch panel be broken, I would recommend putting the metal pieces on it anyway, because it will be. I don't know why they're so flimsy, but they do break all the time. Boom. Oh wow, this one came out without breaking. First time for everything, I guess. All right, so to put the clips back in, there's these little, I would say, spots that they go in, and they just slide in the slot, and you push them down until they kind of click. There's a little tab on the top there that holds them from going too far in, and you're just going to put your 4 new clips in across the top there. There you go, there's 2. Don't mind all the mess. This hatch probably needs to be replaced at some point. The window was replaced, and there's some caulk, and previous owner did a number on some of the things here, but anyway, it's good enough for now. There's there you go, 4 new clips are in. This is like a butyl putty that I sometimes will use to hold these and keep them from rattling. There's the lock rod, and now let's move on to the latch. All right, so the first piece we're going to need to remove is this lock rod, the pin. It goes down all the way into here, and let's see if I can get some, yeah, if I move it up and down, it moves that whole assembly. So you probably can't see it, but up in behind, you'll be able to see where that goes in. You're just going to pull it out of the clip. Real easy. And then it feeds up out of the top hole. See, it's just a hook. Feeds into a clip. I'll show you better when the latch is out of the car. Next, you got two 10mm bolts to pull the this lever assembly out. Let me work on that. There's one. Don't normally do this with one hand. And there's two. Boom. Okay. Now there's a little bit, I put a little more butyl right there to keep that from rattling. And boom, there, that latch is out. Now there's this pin goes into this plastic clip here. And what that does is when you pull that lever, if you're on the inside of the car, it will push that pin down. And then what it's going to do, I don't know, somewhere in here, one of these buttons it's going to push in this linkage, it's going to open the hatch. Okay, so now I've got the wire unplugged. I'm going to go ahead and take these. There's 3 T40 Torx bolts. Okay. Go ahead and pop all those loose. So I've got the 3 bolts out. There is one more rod. It runs up to the top and it goes to the handle, the release handle on the outside. You can get to it from up above by the wiper arm. You just got to pop the little clip loose. Boom. And use this little trim popper. It's being difficult. Oh, okay, that clip is now loose and can come out the top. This little rod. This goes from the handle on the outside down to the latch. So we're going to take that one out. Now the latch should be free to come out. Boom. There's the old latch. Now I've got my new latch from Dan, who we met with the Volvo 240, Handy Dan on YouTube. He gave me this nice working latch that he got from a parts car he had. So I'm just going to go ahead and simply replace it in the same spot as the old one. Okay, I'm going to stick that in there. I'm going to put the 3 P40 Torx bolts back in. I like to get all 3 of them started before I get them tight. Sometimes you'll get the first 1 or 2 started and the 3rd one won't go in. But for now, those are good. Okay. Next up, we're going to take the rod that goes up to the handle on the exterior. We're going to go ahead and feed it back through the top. There's a little hole in the latch that it goes through and then pops back into the clip. And I'll show you on this old latch. That rod goes down through this little tiny hole and pushes on that lever to unlock it. This here is a child lock. There's all sorts of little mechanisms in this latch. So I've got this rod on and it's connected now. All right, so the next thing is there's a second rod. This one goes from the lock cylinder on the hatch and it goes down to, there's a little black clip. All right. The third one, now this one's tricky. This is the pin, the lock pin. It goes in through the top, same way it came out. And it's got to be just kind of a certain way in here. You feed it down in. And if you pay real good attention to how it came out, it'll be simpler. Okay, now that's it, and it works. Okay, now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this little child lock, the interior latch, I guess they call it. I'm going to go ahead and stick that in here also. And now this stick doesn't actually clip in, it just goes in, there's kind of a hole there that it sets in. And you'll want to make sure that you get it in the right spot. Make sure the pin goes where it needs to. Boom. Once the pin is in the slot, I'm going to go ahead and hook that tab over the bottom and slide it on. And also make sure. So I like to I'll close the latch manually with my hand. Boom. Make sure that unlatches with the interior latch. If it doesn't, check this lock here, that's a child lock. But I tested it, it's all working right. We're going to put those two 10mm screws back in on each side. Boom. 10mm ratchet. Okay, that's it. That latch should work. Now before I put the panel back on, I'm going to go ahead and test it just in case there's an issue. All right, now it's all installed. Like I said, you can close this latch with your hand and it opens with the interior latch. Close it again. If we hit the exterior latch, boom, opens back up again. So those are all working. The lock is working. Child lock seems to work. Everything's good. We're plugged in. So let's go ahead and check it before I put the trim panel back on, just to make sure everything's good. Okay, it latched. Here's another thing that when the latch is bad, you'll always be able to tell. So that light, if the latch is bad, it stays on. Same with my interior light. Boom, look at that. Light goes out. Now, let's check and see if that dash light is still going to go out. If it does, we're good to go. Let's see. Boom. Dash light is out. Perfect. Okay, let's go put the trim panel back on. Also, I just want you to be aware on these P80 Volvos, that's 850s, V70s, from the mid-90s all the way up to like 2000. They use the same type of latch, and this striker plate down at the bottom has this little plastic, I guess, bushing on it. I'm assuming it's for noise and stuff. Sometimes that plastic will crack and fall off. If it does, your latch will not completely close. You'll have to like slam the hatch really hard to maybe make it work. Sometimes it won't even work that way. If you're having problems with your latch not completely closing or the light not going out, buy a new striker plate. They're not that much. I think 15 bucks or something like that from FCP or anywhere really you can buy them. This plastic bushing is super important to make that latch work right. If you don't have it, it will cause you all sorts of headaches. So yeah. All right, so in the pursuit of killing rattles, there are 4 clips, the same as the small clips on the hatch panel. There's 2 and 2. And every now and then, they will pop loose. You want to just make sure that they're popped back in. If they're broken, you want to replace them. This whole piece will just simply fall off. That happens sometimes. This one's good. I just replaced those not that long ago. So I'm going to go ahead now and put this panel back in. So you want the 4 upper clips, these ones that go into the metal. I showed you how to slide them in here. You want all 4 of those installed on the hatch, and all of these small clips will be installed on the actual trim panel itself. Before you start, make sure all 8 clips are intact. First step is going to be to get this lock rod here into the hole where it needs to be. Make sure it goes in there, because if you wedge it back behind the panel, you're going to have to pop it back off to get that lock rod out, and you'll probably bust all your clips again. So we're going to get that in now, and then you're going to start at the top side, and you're going to line up all 4 of these trim clips with their holes where they go on the panel. And this is where it gets sketchy, because you just push and it makes the most god-awful noise, but it sounds like you're going to break them all, but that's just how they go. So once the top 4 are in where they need to be, you're going to go ahead and just kind of bend your panel out a little bit and hook the bottom 4 over into their holes where they go. And you're just going to push up. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, panel's secure now. All 8 clips are in. The top panel is good. It's not going to rattle. Next thing I do, I'll take this handle trim, just like it came out. You're going to kind of twist it in there. Line up your tabs. Boom. Clips in. Lastly, you're going to put your little grab handle back on. Super simple. A couple of T25 screws, just like we had before. Go ahead and put them in. Boom. Okay. You're done.